In today's episode of Straight Up No Bullshit, we dive into the topic of unity, bringing people together, getting this great divide to be not so divisive. How do we get more people aligned with what is true and what is bullshit?
Welcome to the Straight Up No Bullshit, the Don Handston Show. Our hosts are going to push the limits, but create an environment where it's safe to uncover the crap that holds you back so you can survive the mediocrity of today's life. And they'll be admitting and revealing their own experiences so you can learn the skills and attitude you need to be who you are. No bullshit. Warning to all listeners, if you have thin skin and get offended easily by harsh, direct, or somewhat offensive content and language, then this podcast may be overwhelming. However, we believe pulling your blinders off and viewing things from a real perspective may feel invigorating and may be the very thing that may cause you to expand your capabilities exponentially. Now here's your hosts, Don and Markus.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Straight Up No Bullshit, the show where we tackle tough issues and cut through the noise and cut through the bullshit. We are so glad you are here. Don, how's it going, my friend?
Everything's awesome.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. I love the shades. The future's so bright.
Pretty sunny out today.
It is sunny out today. Gotta love it. It's beautiful out and the sun's shining and it's a lovely day in the 80s. Gotta love it. So anyway, today's topic, we're gonna kind of dive deep and talk about in this world where we live, it's filled with so much misinformation and divisive rhetoric. How do we find common ground to bring people together? And it seems more challenging than ever. So we're going to talk about some ideas today, maybe using empathy, compassion, understanding, love to bring this versus being combative and things of that nature. So Don, what are your thoughts on that? How do we bring people together? What's your take on getting people from, let's say, all sides of the left, right, and center, get more aligned with what's true and filter out the bullshit?
Well, I think the biggest key element to this thing is understanding, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every person has their own ideas, perspectives, realities, truths. They create their own. Okay,
right.
So what's real to them might not be real to you. And anyways, I think that rather than I'm right and you're wrong, or you need to be wrong in order for me to be right, or whatever the lack mentality is, I think that people need to understand a couple things. They need to understand that I could be right, you could be wrong, or you could be right and I could be wrong, and like it doesn't matter. It's based on perspectives, who's right and who's wrong. So the thing is that, like I've talked about in other podcasts, is we are the creator, the architect of our lives. So I think that right now, it's like here in America, what seems to be one of the biggest divisions is conservatism, which in my viewpoint, is more of a logical, and then there's the Democratic side of things. But I think, and this is gonna,
I would say more liberal, not democratic.
Yeah,
I'm
trying not to use words that'll
trigger people,
offend people. Okay, I'm trying to, because this is about unity, right?
Yeah, right.
So instead of arguing about it, because a conservative person wants things to be back like they used to be,
right?
Typically, a liberal person sees differences in the future. And I think we all should want change, but we should want change for the betterment. And I think that rather than arguing with somebody, which isn't even worth doing,
right?
And that's why a lot of times I don't have a lot to do with people that are very liberals, because they want to argue because you're wrong, and that's fine. I really don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
Right.
But help me understand why it is that you think this, or why, what's your rhyme and reason, and if we can understand that, and we can understand that no two people are the same, okay, I think that understanding somebody else's perspective, even if you don't agree with it, is fine. And I think, like we talked about in our groups, right, it's about inspiration of thought. So I think when somebody thinks differently than the masses, the cool part is that it inspires thought. Like, hey, I can choose to be something different than what other people are. Although I think the biggest problem that we're facing right now is a lot of these beliefs and ideas have been brought to fruition through indoctrination. So
Right.
schools, government, um, special stipends toward special interests and things on people that think differently, right?
Right.
And I don't care if people think differently. I think it's a great thing. I just think people need to be happy and not destructive with themselves and with the environment and with each other. But we need to really understand, and I think the key is to understand why it is and what it is.
Right.
And I'm gonna go down a little bit of a rabbit hole real quick. And
Okay.
one of the hot topics is the gender thing.
Right.
Okay. And I'm conservative, and I think man and a woman are here to create children and so on and so forth. Now, I understand that there's people that are gay and there's all different stuff. And but the good part about it is that I found, so I got a summer place, and a lot of my new neighbors, they have partners, right? Partners.
Sure.
Most of that I'm seeing are
Same
women,
sex
right?
partners. Right. Yeah.
Right, same sex partners, and they're women. And I will tell you, these people are very, very nice. And I was out working on my place yesterday, and these people, they had a family, they had children, and everything else. These girls were very nice, and I heard them all laughing inside. They were having just such a great time. I wanted to go knock on the door and say, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for laughing, for enjoying life and not
Yeah.
taking this so seriously. Because I think the problem is people are taking this life too seriously. It's not serious. It's here to have fun.
Yeah.
So if you're an architect and you create your life and you have fun, don't rain on other people's parades. But on the other side of things, if people don't agree with what it is that you've decided to create in your own life, you can't be mad at them either. So we don't all have to be in agreement. We have to try to understand.
And I think, that's why I take more of a libertarian approach. You do you, I'll do me. And, as long as I'm not infringing on your rights and you're not infringing on my rights, we're good. And I'm good with that. I got plenty of friends that are gay, all that kind of stuff. That doesn't matter to me. As long as you're a good person, you're a good person. However, it's when people start throwing stuff down your throat and forcing you to whole society to change because of a small group of individuals. And, I was going to go on a different topic, which we'll get to in a second here. But the whole thing is, and I think most gay people, a lot of the gays that I've spoken to, they look at this whole trans thing being totally different. They don't even want to be associated with it because that's not who they are. They knew who they are. I mean, like you've talked about, since the dawn of time, there's been men that like men, there's women that like women, and they just go through society. Now we've gone through that whole revolution of people being who they are, and they've accepted it. But now it seems like there's an agenda to kind of create fear and manipulate and censor people based on what they believe in based on a public opinion. And it's like if you say, I don't agree that men belong in a women's bathroom, I'm going to say I disagree with it. I say no, they do not belong there. But you say that, and now you're canceled, or you're frowned upon, or you're people want to be argumentative about it. I think that there's a balance. We're all 18 years old. You can choose to be whatever you want to be. We're all the creators of our own life. We can script it out. However, when we're dealing with kids, there's got to be boundaries. If my daughter was still in high school and she was changing in a women's locker room, and some dude that says he's a woman comes in there and starts undressing, I'm not good with that. I'm not. And my daughter right now would probably cringe because she believes, everyone love everybody. And again, I'm good with it. Love everybody, but don't create scenarios that jeopardize other people's life. Again, it's the whole libertarian thing. Don't infringe on other people's rights just for your rights. You can be you, but you don't proselytize. That's probably why I'm so against organized religion. I'm very spiritual. I believe in God. I believe in, I have very deep rooted beliefs. However, I don't like when people proselytize. I don't like people when, you got to believe it my way. It's my way or the highway. It doesn't work that way. There's many paths up the mountain. So I'm not. I guess what I'm trying to get is how do we get to a point where we can bring people together, where we can not shame people for believing what they believe, whether it's on one side or the other, and get along and bring. Because I think more people are down the middle than most people realize. It's always the far fringe right and the far fringe left that want to create all this divisiveness and manipulation and censorship and all this shit that goes on. Because, when we were talking about the coronavirus, I'm not vaxxed. I know you're not vaxxed either. I chose not to. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not putting that poison in my body. The science doesn't add up, but yet they were pushing that. They were pushing it down to the nth degree. And you know what? I think that's where the big divide started. I really believe that. I mean, there was stuff that was percolating back in, 2012, 2016, 2018. But when that happened, it was like the great divide. It's like, boom, and I remember I left a bunch of networking groups that I really liked the people because they wanted to shame me for not being vaccinated, and I could have gotten a fake vax card and whatever in July or whatever, but I'm not doing that. That's not who I am.
Well, do you want to be around those people? I don't want to be around people.
You're right. I don't. You're absolutely correct.
Because if you want to force your beliefs on me, then I can force my beliefs on you, and you're not going to like my beliefs.
Right.
So leave me alone.
But there's just a lot of shaming on it. And so, I think there's people that fall into different categories. There's people that they were fearful. They were scared and they believed what the government told them. Oh, it's safe. It's effective. It's going to prevent you getting sick, whatever. And they went and got the shot. They got the booster, whatever, and then there was the people that they didn't want to take it, but they're like, well, I'm going to lose my job if I don't. I can't work if I don't, or I can't go to school if I don't. And so they were manipulated into doing it. They were forced into doing it, coerced, because they were going to lose their livelihood, their way of life. A lot of businesses shut down because of it. Let's go on and on. And then you've got some people that were just, I'm sorry, they were assholes about it. Jimmy Kimmel got on stage and had a monologue about, well, hey, you having a heart attack. Oh, you're vaxxed. Oh, come right in, get your surgery. You're unvaxxed. Oh, go eat your horse paste and good riddance. That's the divisiveness. That's the extremities. That how do we bridge that gap? How do we get the people? And because the truths come out. The truths come out is that it was manufactured. That the shots didn't stop getting the virus. The virus. And you know what? People that have gotten the vax, there's regret. There's vaccination harm. There's all those things that happen. But you know what?
Oh
You talk to one person who's unvaxxed. There's not one person that unvaxxed says, "Oh God, I wish I'd gotten the vax." But the other way around is there. And so, how do we bridge that gap and not be combative, but embrace everybody? You know what I'm saying?
See, yeah, and I don't want to get off on the vaccine thing, okay? But I will agree with you when you said Kimmel said, if you have a heart attack, if you vax, come on in. If you don't, go, whatever.
Sand, yeah.
Now, the problem with that is that's hate.
Correct.
Okay. Now, hate creates hate.
Yes.
So let's say I got a conservative hospital, right? Yep. And I say, if you've been vaxxed, don't come in here. You're the one to put poison in your body. If you have been vaxxed, come on in. So what it does is it creates the opposite hate, right? There's always a balance, right? You can create love, you can create the opposite love. You create hate, you create the opposite hate. So it's always the problem is when you promote these, when you try to press your ideas on other people so you can get them to agree with you, okay? Right. Agree. That's how you hypnotize someone. Right. Okay, high level of agreement. Now all of a sudden my intention is your intention. It supersedes your intention, right. And your intention is my intention. So we'll do a podcast on that, on hypnotism, because I don't believe people are as dumb as they're running around and acting to be. I think they're very smart. I think they're hypnotized, but that's a topic for another night. Of
course.
But the thing is yeah, somebody that's got a camera with all these viewers that puts all that hate out there creates division, okay? And for these people, that's why I will not watch TV. I cannot stand any movies, news, TV, any of that. I don't even watch sports because they started promoting all kinds of nonsense with sports, right. Concerts, you name it. I don't have nothing to do with any of that because they all promoted all that bullshit. Right. All they did was promote hate. And when you promote hate, you create division.
Right.
Okay. And now we're at that precipitous. What was the word you
Precipice.
said? Where,
Yeah.
whatever, where people are failing
Right.
because of all of these bad ideas that they agreed to.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
And all this division that has happened, and it's creating a lot of bad times for people. And so now they have to make a choice, right? And it's like, okay, here's the line in the sand. What side of the line are you going to be on? That's kind of how today's times are.
Right.
And I think in order for us to be a successful society, a successful world, a successful universe, a successful existence, okay, we have to figure out how to unite. And how do we unite? I think it's all about thought, like I've talked about in other podcasts, but it's about understanding. Help me understand your perspective. Okay. And two things can happen on that. Either you can understand a total alternative perspective to yours and see where they put relevance in it, or by talking it out, sometimes these people talk themselves out of their perspective because they're like, you're right, this doesn't make any sense, because they're trying to make sense out of nonsense.
Right.
And all of a sudden the bell goes off in their head, bing. That doesn't make any sense. Now all of a sudden their perceptions changed without you changing their perception or you pushing your beliefs on them. It's just, help me understand. I don't agree with you, Marcus, but please, can you help me understand your perspective? And you start trying to reason with your perspective, and you're like, well, wait a minute, the bell just went off in my head and this doesn't make any sense. It's something I learned in school, or it's something they told me on the news, or it's something. And all of a sudden you're like, wow. So it goes back to the state of awareness.
Right.
When you help people become aware, sometimes they answer their own questions, and sometimes they didn't even realize that those were questions. That was just the reality.
Right.
But once you ask them to help you understand, then they realize it's a question. Then then all of a sudden they understand that it's not a question; it's ridiculous. So there's a couple different things that can happen about when you try to understand people, and you just say, "Can you help me understand your perspective?" Or please tell me why you think that's relevant.
Right.
And it'll problem solve itself. And I think that we can actually come together unitedly as people, right? And
Yeah.
and beyond that, as spiritual beings. But I think it's one step at a time. It's you and your neighbor, okay?
Right.
It's you and your city. It's you and your state. It's you and your country. It's you and the other countries. It's you and mankind, and it's you and the world. I mean, but you have
Right.
to start somewhere,
Right.
and you got to start small. And so I think just understanding, just helping understand. And it might not, somebody's understanding might not be logical to you, but at least it'll help you understand like why they think so differently than you do.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And I think that understanding, part of it also is realizing that you need forgiveness as well, because if you don't forgive people, I can come across very passionate, and sometimes I'm very intense because of that passion, and let's face it, when people cancel us, it makes us angry. We want to fight back. We're like, fuck you. I'm not taking this bullshit. However, that combativeness isn't working. There's a thing when I study metaphysics, what you resist persists. Like if you were to hold up your hand and I was holding up your hand and we were pushing on each other, well, we're pushing on each other, we're resisting. But if you stop resisting and I push, I'm going to follow. There's nothing to be pushed against. So there's that component of it, of realizing that, well, if trying to convince people, I'm going to get them to believe what I believe, and they're going to see the light. That's not working. How then we got to look at it from a different perspective, right? Like we're talking about. So understanding, I think, is first and foremost. I think compassion, forgiveness, love. Like you said, hate just divides more hate. Love transcends it all. I'm reading this book. I recommended it to my girlfriend, and she recommended it back to me today, actually this morning, called The Power by Rhonda Byrne. And everything that's ever been created that's positive is been through love. And if we can get ourselves there, sometimes it's tough. Sometimes forgiving someone is a tough thing to do, but realize that when you forgive them, you're forgiving them for yourself more than you are for them. It's not, you're not saying it's okay what they did. You're forgiving the situation and letting it go, and not letting it tie you down, and be a brick on your shoulder, and weigh you down.
Here's how that works, though, the forgiveness thing. Okay, when you have the capability of forgiving somebody,
Right.
okay, really what you're doing is you're freeing up yourself, because you're forgiving yourself. We have this thing called a reactive mind, okay? And the reactive mind a lot of times punishes ourselves.
Right.
Illnesses, unhappiness, incapabilities, doesn't matter what it is. But a lot of it has to do with deserving, right? And if you can never forgive others, you can't forgive yourself. So we've all done things in the past, in this life, and in the trillions of other lives that we've had. We've done so many horrible things, bad things, things that are stuck in a reactive mind bank.
Right.
And if we can forgive others, because we know that we've done the same, if not
Worse,
probably worse, maybe not on this lifetime, but on the track, then what it does is it frees us up, and it allows us to deserve what it is that we want.
Right.
So if you don't forgive people and you hold grudges and all you're doing is holding yourself back. So it all makes a full circle and winds up right back where it started. So if I don't forgive you, I don't forgive me.
Right.
And so all these bad things happen to me is because I keep them bound up inside, and I want to hold on to that hatred. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You got to let go of it. You got to let go of that hatred.
Yep.
And then it comes right back, all the way right back around to you. And all of a sudden you're like, I deserve.
Yeah.
And when you deserve, you will receive everything that you've ever needed in life.
I agree. And it's definitely a fine line, where you navigate this fine line between compassion and judgment, and realizing, what's right. And, different people hold different beliefs and different choices, but I think it comes to forgiveness, and, it's love. If you focus on what you love, more of that's going to come into your life. It's a law of attraction. When you focus on, things that are attractive, I mean, that's an essence of love. But if you're focusing on the negative part of things, and on things that aren't going well, you're going to get more of that in your life. That's just how the universe works. And so if we can make a conscious effort to focus on the things we love, and turn our heads away from the things we don't, guess what? Those things will eventually, go away. They'll fade away.
Well, this morning I listened to a lecture, and one of the comments in the lecture was, what becomes real to you is what you put your attention on. Okay?
Yep.
It becomes real.
Yep.
And so if you don't put your attention on things, they don't become real.
Right.
Okay? And so it's got a lot to do with what we're talking about today, because people are putting their attention on things that other people are telling them to put their attention on.
Correct.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so the more you can kind of stay off in your own realm, okay, you can put your attention on the things that you want, the things that, like you say, serve you, right?
Correct.
The things that serve you, the things that you want in your life, you put your attention on it, and that becomes real. Okay? And so
I agree.
The thing is you got to keep your attention off the things that you don't want. And it goes back to even like that book, Rhonda, I think it's Rhonda Byrne was The Secret.
Right, The Secret,
writer as
correct.
well. With the vision boards, and, you put everything up on a vision board, and then the next thing you know, you got that house and that car and whatever, that girl and in the bikini, whatever they try and tell you. I don't know.
Well, no, it's true. Vision boards work. I mean, because what you focus on becomes your reality.
It's exactly what I said. Yeah. It's what you put your attention on is what becomes real to you. Those are like some of the most simple things that I've heard. Sum it all up.
Right.
We try and put it together with these 15-letter words and this big dialogue and all this. It's really about simple thoughts. Right. Simple thoughts really sum up our existence, okay?
Yep.
Our beingness. We're here as people right now. We're not people. This isn't me. This is just a body that I'm stuck inside.
Right.
I'm a spiritual being. Same with you.
Yep.
Same with everybody who's watching
Having a
this
human
thing.
experience.
And
right.
so, and I listen. I got a real good one. I listened to in a lecture. Okay, it was from the 16th century.
Okay.
Man is not a body that owns a mind. Man is a mind that owns a body.
Yep. I would agree.
If you can get your arms around that concept, you start realizing all this stuff, this happened to me, and this, and health, and this, and it all kind of goes away.
Right.
We're a mind. This is what we own, our body, and this is a temporary thing. How long does this thing last? 100 years, maybe, if you're lucky, right? Like maybe. So that's a speck. That's a minor speck on the track that we've been on for trillions of years.
Correct.
And we think, oh, this is our whole life, from when we're born until
sliver.
we die. No, this is a speck. Yep. And so, the thing is that just understand that thought comes from above or from within, however you want to perceive it, right? But we have the thought we are all powerful beings.
Yes, we are.
The problem is that we're in this body and we don't believe that we are.
Right.
As soon as we can open up our minds and open up our thoughts, and I think that we need to focus and put our attention on, betterment, helping other people, uniting, getting better, basically getting our wings and flying, because we are spiritual beings. We need to unite. We do not need to fight. We need love. We don't need conflict. We don't need hate.
Yep.
And if we can flush this stuff out and start understanding each other, it's a giant leap for mankind.
Without a doubt. I mean, you just think about how much better your life is going to be. And then the trickle effect happens, it's such to affect the people around you. So I totally agree with you. Love versus hate, compassion versus judgment, and really putting the thought of betterment and, like you say, getting people to unite. I mean, that's really what it's at. Let's give more hugs versus punches.
Yeah.
And I think with everything that's going around, with all the fear, and let's just face it, there's a lot of people that are still fearful. I mean, you still see people wearing masks in cars. I mean, I don't get it. To me, it's like, but you know what? When you've had that much fear driven into your mind,
maybe their passenger ate a bag of Cheetos before they got in.
But when you have that much fear, that affects your mind. So we need to get people away from that fear, get people, listening to things that are positive, and realizing that, unplug from the television, because I'm sorry, the media is lying to us. The media is controlled by the powers that be, and they just want their agenda. They want everyone to fall in line and do their thing. And you know what? It's up to us to wake them up. It's up for each person to wake themselves up. We can't do it for them. We can share an idea, but what you focus on becomes your reality. If you watch, all the news and all the crap that's going on, that becomes your reality. It's not my reality. It's not your reality. We don't buy into that shit. We don't spend the time putting garbage in, because guess what? Garbage in, garbage out. So, it's really about getting people to realize, hey, you are in control. You're in charge. Let's just say the vaccine issues. We talked about that. You got vaxxed. Okay. You regret it. I'm not going to judge you for it. It is what it is. I'll share ideas, things to help you get unvaxxed, because there's ways to pull that crap out of your body, and get healthy. And there's people that took it and they regret it. And there are protocols you can do to get this stuff out of your body. So I guess we're getting to is that we want to share ideas. We want to give thoughts to people so that we can bring everyone together, because we need that in this country. We need that in this world. There's just so much division out there, and the powers that be, they're doing it purposely. But just realize they are purposely trying to divide you. Those TV shows, the commercials, all of the shit that the news media, stop listening to it. As soon as you unplug from that, guess what? Half the battle's over. And the rest of it is now surround yourself with people that want to better themselves. That's the bottom line. They're willing to love. They're compassionate and will forgive. And guess what? We'll be on our way.
I'll tell you a funny story. Get off the subject a
Right.
little bit, but when you talk about TVs, I try and spend as much time up at my place in the state above us,
Right.
and people come in and are like, "Yeah, it's a nice place. Where's the TV?" I go, "It's in the garbage can." They said, "Well, what do you mean?" I go, "We don't watch TV. We come up here to get away from that nonsense."
Right.
Like, I have TVs in the house that I live
Right.
in, but I don't watch them. You know, other people do,
Right.
but I will not watch a TV if you paid me any amount of money.
Right.
I wouldn't turn that crap on. And I think that a lot of people, because years ago, um, every home that I would go into, people would have their TV on.
Sure.
And now, every home I go into, the TV is off. So
That's
I think
good.
people are starting to figure this shit
That's
out.
awesome.
Because the TV is the ultimate hypnotizer of people.
It's
And
called
you got to
it's
get
called
that
the
thing out
program
of your
for a
life.
reason.
Yeah, programs, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's a big step. I think the newspaper, I think the TV,
Yeah.
I think I think people are like, how do you know what's going on if you don't watch the news or you don't hear to read the newspaper? You don't. I said, I know what's going on, and I know what's going on that's relevant to me, and
Right.
and most of that stuff is not relevant. And that's the reason why so many people are failing right now. And they're all agreeing with this
Right.
nonsense. So I don't really care. I don't want to fight with people about
Right.
it. I don't care about it. And I'll be honest with you, I'm one of those guys. You know, people like they think that they're something because they know who like a famous person is, or what movie they are in,
Right.
or what song they sang, or whatever. I'm like, I pride myself on not knowing those names. I'm like, if they're famous to you, I guarantee I don't know them because I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
If it's a good guy, it's a really good guy, or a really intelligent guy, or somebody that's really out there to try and help you, yeah, I want to know about him. But if it's just some dumbass on TV
Right.
or movies
Right.
or whatever they're doing, the last thing I want to do is know what their name is. And even if I knew what their name was, I'd be like, I have no idea who that guy is.
Yeah.
No idea. I don't want to give them any recognition
Right.
because those are the people that should not get recognition. And when people figure this out and they stop giving these celebrities so much recognition, their life's going to get better.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know?
No, without a doubt.
So,
I think the takeaway here is realize that people, you may not agree with everybody, and that's okay. Like my grandpa said, you can disagree without being disagreeable. However, have understanding, have compassion, have forgiveness, have love towards them, and start the dialogue, start the conversation again. Because by doing that, it's going to bring people together. It's going to unite us and get us over the challenging times that we're living in. Because let's face it, we are living in challenging times. And if we all do that, I think the world's going to be a better place, and we're going to see a much better reality than the stuff that we're experiencing today. So, Don, thank you, my friend. It's been a great conversation, and for all of you listeners and viewers out there, we appreciate you, and we appreciate the fact that you're taking the time to listen to us. Hopefully, the things we're sharing will add some perspectives, spark some thought, help you in your road to betterment, and that's all we can do. So if you liked what you heard here today, please subscribe, like the channel, whichever channel you're listening to us on. Follow us. We're on Facebook. We're on TikTok. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Twitter, or X, I should say. We're everywhere. So find us, follow us there.
YouTube,
exactly. Rumble, and then please tell someone about this. If you got some value out of this, share it with a friend, share it with a colleague, share it with someone you care about, and let's help spread the word of betterment and unity across the world.
And I just want to share one more thing.
Okay.
I will say that I know of the few listeners that we have, and hopefully that will continue to go up. I know some of these folks, and I know that their ways of thinking have changed a little bit, and they've implemented some of these ideas, and their lives are, in fact, getting better.
I love it.
Exponentially. So just like what we say in the beginning about exponentially,
Yep.
I will tell you, I personally do know some people, and their lives are dramatically getting better. I hope that same thing is happening for many other listeners. So again, thank you. We appreciate you. Please tell other people if you like our content. to listen, and hopefully we can let spread the word of betterment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. With that said, see you in the next episode of Straight Up No Bullshit. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to the Straight Up No Bullshit, the Dawn Handston Show. We hope we enlightened you and expanded your perspectives with our bold and honest discussions about what might be holding you back from being your genuine self. And with a simple click to subscribe, we'll invite you back to the next episode. If you want to know more, go to straightupnobullshit.com. We'll see you next time.